That's pretty incredible.
Look at that, Shore Acres State Park. I mean, this is the prime spot to take pictures of big waves. Anybody who's ever been here knows it's a favorite. But thank you, Steve, for submitting this picture. He shot this today. High surf advisory was in effect all day and will continue to be all the way through tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock in the morning. Current conditions here in Portland, 54 degrees. At PDX, we're getting some light rain. Wind out of the southwest at 7 miles per hour, dew point at 50, and your sunrise time 7:29. So when we take a look at the last hour, hour and a half, we continue to see more moisture streaming in. We have an area of low pressure that's centered in the Gulf of Alaska, and it continues to send little disturbances through. And every once in a while, we're tapping into a little bit more moisture, a little bit less. And right now, we're kind of on the back end of things where it's kind of mellow. But let me show you where it's raining right now. So notice on the map, most areas are dry with the exception of right now some of our beach communities, Tillamook, over to Portland and Molalla just outside of Salem. Now zooming in a little bit closer, we're seeing that rain hanging out right now in Troutdale, Gresham, heading into Carson, and right there along I-84 is where we're seeing the rain. Now, how much did we have today? Astoria picked up 1.5 inches. We had 1/4 of an inch so far at PDX. Salem picked up about 3/10 of an inch and 4/10 of an inch Vancouver. So what's next? We go from waves to big time snow, southern Washington Cascades. Not Mount Hood, not Mount Bachelor. A winter storm watch will go into effect starting tomorrow, lasting until Saturday night. Why? Because above 5,000 feet, we could collect snow anywhere from 1 to 2 feet. So that is in a very short period of time. That's why that winter storm watch is in effect. How much could we see, though, right around Mount Hood? We might be talking about an inch down to about 4,500 feet to as much as, let's say, 1 to 3 inches right above 5,000 feet. And at the peaks, we could be looking at close to a foot of snow, perhaps. That won't impact any of you unless you're climbing to the top in the next 24 hours. We are tapping into more subtropical moisture as soon as we get to the second part of the weekend, Sunday into Monday and Tuesday. So get ready for that. There'll be more of it. Totals in the next 24 hours, though, we're looking at possibly another 1/4 of an inch to a 1/2 inch of rain. Inland valleys. So the rain continues. Chance for thunderstorms continues through Saturday. And hey, look at next Wednesday and Thursday. There's a little bright light.
Little peaks of sun. I hope we can remember what that is by then.
It's about that little.
That's dramatic, sorry. Thanks, Natasha.
Well, still ahead, did you know it is National Seafood Month? So we're going to show you a few ideas to help you mark the occasion. Did you know October is National Seafood Month? And our own Cor Harlan visited Headwaters Restaurant. That's headed up by Chef Vitaly Paley to see what's cooking.
The first shipments of Alaskan king crab are starting to arrive too. The season started in the Bering Sea just 2 days ago. We're told king crab is a much sweeter meat that pairs pretty well with spicy flavors. But there's nothing wrong with going with an old standby.
What we do is basically, and how you prepare these at home is kind of just brush them with a little disposable butter that you have and throw it in the oven for only about 3 to 5 minutes, depending on how hot the oven is.
It's the best and easiest way to do it, right?
It really is. It really is. And, you know, you can make a dish to go along with it, but I prefer just to kind of dip them in a little bit more butter.
More butter. Eating fish and shellfish has its health benefits, of course, like promoting heart health and providing essential nutrients. And doesn't hurt, they just taste dang good. We'll be right back.
Live, you're watching KOIN 6 News at 11, watching out for you.
Well, tonight some North Portland neighbors are fed up. They say a group of teenagers is terrorizing the neighborhood in and around St. John's. This is KOIN 6 News at 11 o'clock. I'm Jeff Gianola.
And I'm Jennifer Hoff. And those neighbors say that crime started really ramping up last month when one person shared video with us from the Diamond Nail Salon. And in it, she says this group of teenagers really got violent with employees when they left without paying. Neighbors also think they're the same teenagers involved in other recent crimes, including break-ins and assaults. In fact, we spoke off camera with a woman who says it was a group of teens who assaulted her when she walked home over the weekend. Another resident tonight is speaking on her behalf.
She got just cold cocked in the side of the head by a girl, and she got a really good look at her, and when I showed her the footage of the nail salon, she's like, yep, that's her.
We reached out to Portland police and they tell us they are looking into all of these incidents, but they're not able to say yet whether they all involve the same suspects.
And some of those concerned neighbors want more help from police, or they're considering taking matters into their own hands, and they gathered tonight to come up with a plan.
Let's switch to our Valina Jones, who was at that meeting tonight. So Valina, were these neighbors able to come up with any kind of solutions?
You know, Jennifer and Jeff, tonight was really about gathering all the information they can about these separate crimes to create a timeline of events involving these young youth. Now, so far we know that allegedly there have been 4 assaults taking place, and that's not to mention all the vandalism that neighbors say is also happening. Now, they tell me tonight those crimes are escalating.
I think the main thing right now is getting this youth off the streets so that people can start feeling safe.
Taking back their streets, Laura Seaton and a group of neighbors in St. John's are teaming up to make sure things like this stop happening.
There have been thefts, break-ins of houses. One woman was on her way to New Seasons and was punched in the face. Another man was asked to buy alcohol for the youth. He said no. They attacked him with a skateboard.
Neighbors spent Thursday night creating a timeline of all the crimes they say one group of kids are responsible for, targeting homes, businesses, and random people on the street.
It's like really disheartening considering how young they are and that they think that they can just go around and do this to people. It's just so wrong.
Stephanie was with her niece Layla when they captured this video of a group of mostly middle school students getting into a fight with one of the employees of Diamond Nail Salon after not paying.
You could tell they're very dangerous and aggressive. They had no empathy for the owners.
Frustrated neighbors have documented several assaults, including one here at the 7-Eleven on North Lombard. I spoke to the employee who did not want to go on camera, but tells me the group tried to steal alcohol, and when he attempted to stop them, they punched him in the face. Those concerned tonight worry what will happen if they're not held accountable.
My concern is somebody's going to be seriously or fatally hurt.
Now, that employee at 7-Eleven tells me he believes some of those kids' guardians were outside of the store when that assault happened. 2 girls were taken into custody, according to that employee. Now, a number of police reports have been filed. The group is hoping to work with police to try to create a case against these youth to hold them accountable. Reporting live in St. John's, Valina Jones, KOIN 6 News.
We'll also continue to push for answers from police as they continue to investigate. Thanks, Valina.
Well, a big health alert tonight. We're learning a person with measles traveled through Portland International Airport this past Saturday, and health officials say it happened between 11:30 a.m. and 1:30 p.m. They're concerned for anyone who spent time in international arrivals and passed through immigration and passport control during that time. So this brings Multnomah County's total measles cases to 15 this year. That's significant because that is the most in 28 years.
New tonight, Coast Guard crews had to rescue 5 people from a disabled sailboat that was 20 miles west of Newport. The distress call came in this morning, and those aboard were saying that they weren't sure they could cross the bar. The Coast Guard arrived to tow the sailboat in, and then a lifeboat came in and rescued the people there who were on board. The sailboat is now safely moored in Newport.
And a small quake struck off the Oregon coast earlier today. That quake registered a 4.7. It was centered about 155 miles west of Port Orford and struck right around 12:45 this afternoon. Now, so far, it doesn't appear there were any reports of damages or injuries.
And that small earthquake happened on the very same day that the nation took part in an annual quake drill known as the Great Shakeout. And at 10:17 local time, participants all rushed to safety, pretending a large quake was hitting without warning. The Great Shakeout happened on the same day that the nation's first statewide earthquake warning system went into effect in California. And it's thanks to a smartphone app called MyShake. By the way, Shake Alert Oregon is working on a similar system.
If you're right on top of the earthquake, it's going to shake you before the system has the capacity to send a warning. So that's something to keep in mind. But for somebody like those of us sitting here in Portland right now, if we see the big one go offshore, we can get many tens of seconds, up to a minute of advance warning that the earthquake will be coming your way.
in even just a few seconds. Very important if anything were to happen like this. A shake alert system is also in development, by the way, up in Washington.
Okay, with all this rain we've been having system after system moving in, we forget that we've had some large waves out on the Oregon coast.
Some pretty big waves. On average, they were between about 18 to 21 feet. And of course, a favorite place to go to catch those big waves, Shore Acres State Park near Coos Bay. This is what it looked like today. Woo-wee! Steve Anlin, thank you for submitting your picture. Look at that. Incredible just to take in nature. Now, let's take a look at what's happening at the coast right now. We are still seeing some pretty big waves offshore, and high surf advisory has been extended through 8 o'clock tomorrow morning up and down the Oregon and Washington coastlines. Right now, we're still seeing some isolated showers moving on shore. Most areas are seeing a nice dry break. We certainly are right here in Portland. Most of that rain heading out towards Hood River and Carson. But we're also talking about snow. Yes, snow for the weekend. I'll tell you how low it's going to go and how much we're going to get coming up.
All right, thanks, Natasha. We have a follow-up tonight as a stolen RV is recovered after the theft that was caught on camera. We first told you about this crime last night, and surveillance cameras captured images of a man stealing that large vehicle off the lot of Family Fun RV in southeast Portland earlier this week. The owner tells us a suspect is now in custody. However, someone broke in again last night and stole batteries.
And we have an update on the vaping crisis happening in Oregon. We found out today that an appeals court has issued a temporary stay now on the governor's ban of flavored vaping products. The court wrote that the ban could force some businesses to close, so it will be put on hold until affected business owners have a chance to file an official response to this ban. There are 11 reported cases so far of vaping-related illnesses in Oregon and 2 deaths. The governor's office tonight is calling this decision unfortunate.
And the largest county in Washington state now filing a lawsuit against e-cigarette maker Juul after a dozen confirmed cases of vaping-related lung illnesses just in Washington state. Lawyers for King County accuse Juul and its affiliates of fraud, racketeering, and conspiracy while targeting children as new users of their products. County officials say 1 in every 4 students has acknowledged vaping in the last 30 days. Juul says it never designed its marketing to appeal to youth while denying all accusations.
In the wake of a misconduct investigation into a teacher, Portland Public Schools tonight says it has some new rules that try to regulate any contact with students. And the district is outlining as well what it describes as appropriate behavior. So for instance, with online activity, teachers should now only be communicating with students through official district emails. And if they choose to talk to students through social media, it must be done on a professional account where there can't be any private messages. Also, teachers cannot give students rides in their own cars unless in special pre-approved circumstances. The district says they should only be meeting one-on-one as well in publicly visible places.
Every adult needs to embrace a responsibility to ensure the safety of every kid in this district. Always. If you do nothing else, you protect children.
These new policies come more than a year after an investigation found that the district had in fact failed in handling sexual misconduct allegations against former gym teacher and coach Mitch Whitehurst. He pleaded guilty to physically harassing a fellow PPS employee as well in 2015.
We're digging deeper now as the Oregon Lottery just kicked off a new sports betting app that lets you place bets both on your phone and on your computer. The Scoreboard app went live this week and there are more than 7,000 people registered. A couple of things to know. You have to be 21 to play. It's only for betting on professional sports, and you have to physically be in Oregon to play. You link a credit or debit card to your account and have to prove your age and address with documents.
The pool of people who play lottery games is getting smaller and smaller. So we're always trying to develop some type of game that will attract a newer, perhaps younger player, to increase our player base.
And the state estimates pulling in about $30 million a year from sports betting.
Well, speaking of gaming, starting tomorrow, it is the Retro Gaming Expo at the Oregon Convention Center. It's the 14th year for the event. If you haven't gone, it is such a fun time. There are plenty of games to play, vendors to shop with, arcade and pinball machines, you name it. There are even some special guests too, like the artist who worked on The Little Mermaid and Beauty and the Beast. Organizers expect people to come from all over the country and even Japan and Canada.
It's just a really great place to kind of come out and have fun. You know, you can wear your Halloween costume early. We're very kid friendly. You know, it's a lot of fun for the whole family.
The expo will also host the classic Tetris World Championships. That's on Sunday, where the top finishers can walk away with a whole lot of prize money. In fact, last year's championships even broadcast on ESPN. Next, cases cleaned out during a jewelry heist at a Northwest shop.
I was just in shock.
Why it could take months for this store to recover.
Plus, crane collapse fines the punishments decided today for the companies involved in a deadly crash that killed an Oregon man.
And a school surprise when a Bobcat crashes right into a classroom.
One strong critter.
Hear from the students who got face to face with the animal.
You're watching Coin 6 News, watching out for you. Caught on camera, a Seattle jewelry store targeted by thieves. The owner says the thieves somehow got inside after stealing a key from the lockbox. That happened last Thursday morning. They even locked the door behind them as they grabbed nearly all the items from the store's displays. All of the pieces are handmade, so it's going to take a lot of hours to replace what was stolen.
And 3 companies are now facing fines for their role in a crane collapse that happened in Seattle as well, and it killed an Oregon man. 3 other people also died. Today, the Washington State Department of Labor and Industries released the results of the investigation, and it found that crane toppled because Pins were removed too early as it was being disassembled back in April. And then the sections of the crane came crashing down, landed right on the new Google building and 6 cars. Travis Corbett from Molalla died in that collapse.
Today, Oregon Senator Ron Wyden introduced a new bill that will jail tech executives for misusing your private information. Wyden crafted the Mind Your Own Business Act, saying it's necessary to ensure transparency and accountability. It would give the Federal Trade Commission the power to fine companies like Google and Facebook up to 4% of their annual revenue, which is in the billions. And any executive who knowingly lies about the violations would face up to 20 years in jail, with companies paying a tax based on their salary.
Things got a little wild, shall we say. At a school near Eugene this week, a bobcat decided to visit the school office. I mean, the school is in a pretty forested area, and the head of the school likes to leave his door open, and that's when the bobcat came inside. You can see perched itself right up there on the window. Of course, that drew in a lot of students and teachers for a look.
I turned and looked, and it was right at my feet, basically. So I went that way outside and closed the door.
Everybody just came to take pictures of it. He just kept looking at it.
Could you stop looking at it?
No, I couldn't stop looking at it. ODFW was called in to get it out of the school, and they said, unfortunately, this is just abnormal behavior for a bobcat, so that made it a risk to the community. Wildlife officials tell us then they did have to put the animal down. Bobcats are the smallest wildcat in Oregon. Experts say the animals are found really all throughout the state, except at high altitudes.
Okay, Natasha joins us for weather, and folks keep thinking, oh, we're over the rain, and then an hour later, downpour again. Yeah.
Nope, it's not done until next Tuesday or Wednesday.
Okay.
Really, officially. But we will have little breaks in between, maybe for an hour or two if you're lucky. So let's take you all the way up to the mountains. Timberline, I'm so sorry that this camera view is not crystal clear. As with most of our outdoor cameras, the lens is wet or snowy or icy. It's 32 degrees up there at 5,800 feet. And I bring you all the way to the top here because we are talking about more snow to fall, and snow levels could drop down to about 4,500 feet over the next couple of evenings. I'll talk more about that snow in just a second. Seaside, 51 degrees, wind out of the southwest at 8, high surf advisory extended through 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. This is how much rain we've seen so far. Astoria picked up just about 1.5 inches of rain since midnight. 4/10, Vancouver, 1/4, Portland, 3/10, Salem. Even got some measurable rain. Pendleton, just over 1/10 of an inch there. We are expecting more rain through tonight and tomorrow, but the heavy stuff, that arrives tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow evening. Aloof of the last hour, though, you see just little pockets of rain moving on shore. Still a little bit of instability, so when you do get one of those pockets coming through, it could at times actually reduce your visibility because there's so much rain actually falling. But again, this is very isolated through tonight. What we're seeing on radar right now, you're nice and clear right around Portland and Vancouver. Just a little bit of rain up towards Kalama, and also as you approach Salem. Also seeing some pockets of rain just outside of Forest Grove to the south. So we are not officially dry yet. Oh, and a winter storm watch that goes into effect starting tomorrow midday. For a very specific part of the Cascades, though. We're talking about the Washington Cascades. So it includes Mount St. Helens, Mount Adams, up to Mount Rainier. Above 5,000 feet, they could accumulate anywhere from 1 to 2 feet of snow in that time period, again from Friday noon until Saturday night. So checking out your snowfall forecast for Mount Hood, this is a 24-hour forecast. So what we're expecting is anywhere from perhaps a trace to an inch of snow right around that 5,000 foot mark, maybe a trace right at 4,000 feet. And then the higher you go, the more you get. And we could be talking about maybe 3 to 6 inches just above 5,000 feet. We will once again be tapping into some subtropical moisture here as soon as we get to this coming Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. Here's the Hawaiian Islands, and watch that track go right into our neighborhood once again. So yeah, we have several more days of rain ahead. Now, how about just the next 24 hours? How much more rain could we see? Well, taking a look at our inland totals in the valley, we could be looking at another inch of rain and perhaps 1.5 inches at the coast. So buckle up, guys. 7-day forecast looks like this. And the chance for thunderstorms too, especially on Saturday.
Yeah,
morning.
you're going to update that. That Saturday could be kind of rough and tough.
It really could, and we'll give you all the details that you need to know. Even when we're not on air, all the information will be on coin.com.
All right, Natasha.
Thanks, Natasha. And don't go